everybody. How are y'all doing today? It's Dr. Cindy Stark. I'm coming in here live for my Tuesdays at 10 talk. I have a new location. My daughter's um, bedroom here in my cottage, and I have what is that? The Brooklyn Bridge behind me. I just felt like being in a different place today. Uh, I am coming in. I've been coming in here live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern for about almost a little bit over a year. I was going to say almost a year and a half, but a little over a year. I'm really just trying to impress upon everybody here in my audience what you can do when you expand the power of your mind to get what you want in life. I think so many times, um, and it's just a kind of like a product of our, I think, our environment, our parental programming, our educational programming, and societal programming, that we don't really learn how to really tap into the potential that's in our brain. And God made our brain first. The neural tube was the first thing that got developed, and so the quicker that you can learn how to master the matter in between your ears, the better, because you can really have every single thing that you want in life. Hey, Deanne, I'm so glad to see you. It's so good to have you here. So, what I'm going to talk to you about today is some interesting lessons that I learned yesterday having a life insurance medical exam. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm Dr. Cindy Stark. I've been an internal medicine doctor for 30 years, practicing full time for the last 15. And when I hit 51, 52 years old, I started realizing there are a lot of other things I want to do in my life. I love being a doctor, but there's other things I want to do in my life too. And so I developed an online group coaching program to get rid of all the childhood trauma laden and driven limiting effects that we have, limiting beliefs, negative emotions, everything that's in our brain, stored in our subconscious mind, and so that people can really live the full potential of their life. Hey, Jenny, thank you for being here. And so when I transitioned, so I made that decision. It was time for me to do something else besides full time medicine. So early this year, I turned in my 90-day notice, and April 1st was my last day of full time medicine. And so I had to, develop a, um, a complete, you know, what's it called, benefits package for myself, because I don't know if any of y'all have uh, bought into this notion, these golden handcuffs that full time jobs kind of equip you with. But I believe truly that I could not be a wise, like a financially wise, sound woman without all the benefits from that a full time job, W-2 employee position offered. And so, thank goodness, with some really wonderful, trusted, and true friends and advisors, I've gotten myself hooked up with a way to get health insurance and life insurance, and really be financially sound from here going forward. And if any of y'all want an incredible health insurance policy for people that are independently employed, or a financial advisor, this guy has already saved me 3 times the amount on my taxes for this calendar year than the fee that he charged me. So I have two incredible guys and an incredible woman to hook you up with. So just DM me for those details. But anyway, so the one of the first things he's given me, several barking orders of what I need to do to get myself in line for financial fitness, so to speak. And one of them was to get a life insurance, because that used to be provided with my job. So this lady comes into my house yesterday, and all I can do is think to myself, how is this lady going to come into my house? She clearly says it's going to take 15 minutes of my time. And how is she going to assess, with a 15-minute snapshot of time with me, what they should charge me for life insurance? So, as a doctor, I'm just like sitting back, and I'm not skeptical, I'm just curious. And I'm just really anxious to see, what is she going to do to me, and what is she going to measure on me? And all it was a sample of urine and 2 vials of blood, and height and weight. And I said, you're not gonna like have me go jog a mile and check my my heart rate afterwards, or my pulse ox, or um, anything like that? She said, no, I can't bring a treadmill into people's homes, and if they were to fall out from a heart attack or something, I wouldn't be able to revive them. So that's not part of it. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I said, so what are you testing my blood for? Like, how are you gonna predict with these 2 vials of blood how long I'm gonna live? And she said, really, the only thing that we're able to test for is HIV and hepatitis, full blown uncontrolled diabetes, and sky high cholesterol. And I said, okay, well, I don't have any of those things. So, you know, I bared my arm. She took my blood. I peed in a cup. And then, she measured my height and weight and she was on her way. And it just started me thinking yesterday. And I've been thinking about this ever since she left. And that's what I wanted to come in here today and talk to y'all about. That really, whether or not someone has diabetes or what'd she say, hepatitis or full blown heart disease, I don't know how she was going to tell that by a blood test. I'm thinking cholesterol. It doesn't predict the quality of your life or the quantity of your life. And ever since last year, I started really enrolling at a steady rate, women and men, into my online group coaching program. It's called Soul Circle Academy, and we take 12 weeks to really delve into any kind of subconscious limitations, all the different things from our childhood that have been embedded since we were like 7 years old, holding us back so that we can really expand and broaden our perspective onto what's possible in our life. And then after we clear out all the junk that's really blocking our reticular activating system and keeping our amygdalas really fired up and triggered and blocking us from preventing so much happiness in our life and abundance and money and love and creative pursuits, when we get rid of all those things that are holding us back, then for the first time, we're able to live our lives based on kind of how we want to live our lives and not on this figment of our imagination, this Groundhog Day where really until you clear out your reticular activating system and get rid of all this. Hey Hannah, it's good to see you. uh, you are you are quite literally, you think that what happens in your life is happening to you and you're seeing it and perceiving it as a real accurate honest version of what's happening. So you see all this stuff in your life, you think you're actually seeing what's happening, you think it goes right through your subconscious mind. And hey Sabrina, it's so good to see you. You think it goes right through your frontal lobe, your conscious mind, which only controls 4% of what happens in our brain, and it's stored into your subconscious mind as a direct replica of the actual truth of what's happening to you at that moment. And then when you want to recall it, you're able to bring it right back to your conscious mind as an accurate representation of that memory. But that's actually not what happens at all. What happens is that it bypasses our thinking brain. Everything that happens to us bypasses our thinking brain, and it only gets stored in our subconscious mind once it goes through a filtering system that's full of parental programming, societal programming, religious programming, educational programming, all the self-limiting beliefs that you have in your mind, body, and soul. And then it only stores what your body and your brain thinks is possible for you. And then and only then, when you recall it as a memory, when it gets put back up into your frontal lobe for processing, and for you to recall it like that, it's a distorted view of what actually happened. It's literally a figment of your imagination. Yay, Michelle's in the house. And so if you are seeing yourself living the same life over and over and over again, having the same problems in relationships, having the same problems in your job, having losing the same 20 pounds and gaining them over and over and over again. Hashtag ask me how I know. You are you are it's not a sign that you're broken. And I want you to know that that is actually your brain acting in in your for your highest good, in your protection, in your highest honor, at because it's acting at the limit that it can act at. Okay. And it's keeping us safe, it's keeping us small, it's keeping us almost like, how I think about it is, it's keeping our present life and our future life as close to be a carbon copy replica of what it was in the past. Because I feel like the way God, and when I get there I'm going to ask him, I feel like God made our brains this way because He knows we were able to survive those traumas of our childhood. And so the best predictor of future behavior is ability to, survive through the past behavior. And so I'm thinking that maybe that's why we live our lives based on that programming and through those filters of what it was before. I don't know. I mean, that might be a stretch, but that's just how I see it. And so what ends up happening when you blow the lid off that and you literally declutter those filters and you blow the lid off of what's possible in your life, you realize that you're able to hold such high levels of happiness and such high levels of self-worth and self-esteem and love and creativity and financial abundance that you never were able to hold before. And life is really a duality, I always think about it like this: whatever it is that's bad in our life, or things that we might not really prefer to be happening to us in our lives, that's just there to show us contrast as to what we can have. And without the contrast, unless you go through some really bad things in your life that make you know with 100% certainty what you don't want in your life, then you're not really appreciative as you could be when you get what it is that you want. Is this making sense to anybody? It's making sense to me, and I just want to know if you guys are understanding what I'm saying. So what I realized in that life insurance policy, I wrote some notes down here that nothing that they're able to write down on their sheet of paper really predicts how long I'm going to live or what a risk to the medical system that I am. I think they're just, I'm hoping anyway, that they're just trying to bundle people into two categories: the really, really sick and the really, really healthy. And hopefully I'll be in the really healthy, and they'll just give me, a different monthly premium. But I just realized all the people that have gone through my program and what I've watched them. Oh, it makes me emotional even to think about it. What I've watched these women and men be able to accomplish just after 12 weeks of working the tools of this program. One woman was able to go back to school and completely rework her educational ability in her brain so that she can get a better job. It's a major pay increase with a fraction of the commute that she had before with her other job. And I have another woman who is able to just completely embrace, the last few days of her mother's life here on this earth in this physical plane. Whereas before she would just be so full of anxiety that she couldn't even go to her mom's bedside as she's dying. Another woman has written a book and written so many songs on the most awful things you could imagine that ever happened to a child, just based on her childhood trauma, so that she can get her message out into the world and help other little girls not suffer the way that she suffered. And another one of my clients has repaired and rekindled his relationship with himself so that he can go and have a relationship with his brother halfway across, I mean completely across on the other coast of this country. He's seen his brother more in the past 6 months than he has in the past 16 years. And like, that is what life means. That's the quality of life. And no life insurance physical can ever tell you that. And so, like, until you know what it is that's possible in your life, and until you're able to hold that duality, like Deanna is saying right there, rain makes us appreciate the sunshine, drought makes us so grateful for the rain. Yeah, and then sometimes when you have so much rain and you're like, oh, this rain is awful, you're like, no, 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 remember when it was so, so dry? We gotta love the rain. Everything comes in seasons. And I guess that's my message today, is that everything comes into seasons, into our human brain and our human life and our human existence too. And, when things get really hard, just know that there are better times right around the corner. And if you're struggling right now, there's people out here, um, namely me, everyone on my team and in my program. We're here to help you, hold hands with you while we'll walk you, usher you hand in hand to a better version of yourself. And nothing would make us happier than to be able to bring other people into our tribe and make everybody realize the potential that's in our brain. And when you harness the power of what's in your brain, then everything is almost like a top down approach where everything in your relationships get better. Everything you realize how to love yourself first, how to have grace with yourself, how to not um, really shame yourself for what you've gone through, and life just really opens up in magical ways. And you know, I did something this week, 2 days ago. I did something I that I've never done before. But my son came into town from college. He's a freshman, and I haven't seen him much over the past 2 months because he's been like getting into the kind of trying to get comfortable in the dorm and group showers and dining halls and 19 hours of classes and all that. Well, he came home this weekend and he said, "Mom," he said, "I want to have a I'm coming home this weekend." And I said, "Oh man, I wish you would have told me earlier because I have the whole weekend planned, going to see my little great nephews. I have a 1, a 2, and a 4-year-old." And I said, "I can't see you until Sunday." He said, "That's okay. Let's just see each other Sunday." Whoops. And so anyway, he said, "Let's do a Sunday fun day." And he has friends from all over the world, and he calls them his brochachos. I accidentally call them brochachas. They're not brochachas, they're brochachos. And so he and all of his friends found all these incredible restaurants. He has his favorite Japanese, favorite Korean, and favorite Thai restaurants on this street that's near me called Pleasant Hill Road. And if anybody lives in Atlanta, text me for the details. DM me and I'll give you these three restaurant recommendations. So Sunday, that's what he wanted to do. He just wanted me to take him out to eat at the places that him and all of his friends from high school always used to go to. So we did that. But before we did that, I took him down to somebody's house. She's actually my massage therapist, and her husband is a drummer. And my son is a musician, and he has always wanted a set of drums, but we just never thought it was the right thing to do. We didn't have room in the house for it, the whole nine. Well, the other day, it just so happened, and again, this is like me. I'm telling you this story to make you realize what's available there for you if you get rid of all the limiting beliefs and the thoughts that your current day and all the days ahead have to be just like the days in the past. So I just happened to be getting a massage last week, and her husband, the drummer, he's a drummer. He just happened to be home that day, and he's never at home. And it was 10 o'clock in the morning, and I never talked to him. I come there right on time for my appointment, and I go upstairs. And but I got there early, and so we started talking, and I just noticed an amazing drum set that he had there in the kitchen. Long story short, he played the drums for me. I Snapchatted my son over a video of that. And then he tells me a story about how he bought a whole entire set of drums for his granddaughter. And he's given her until she's like, or you know, until she's like 10 years old, and she hasn't bitten on the idea to learn drums from her grandpa. So he wants to get rid of this set. He has 4 drum kits, and he wants to get rid of it for like a fraction of what he paid for it and what I wanted. And I just asked my son, and he said yes. So before we went down to the, you know, Asian tour of food that day on Sunday, we went down, and he played those drums, fell in love. We installed them upstairs because I have an extra room in my rental house. And he has been gushing ever since. And he's like, "Mom, I really can't even put into words how happy this has made me." And he said, "Can you video me playing these drums?" And so I did. And it was really frustrating because he couldn't get the beat that he was trying to get. And he was watching the videos back, and he said, "God, look at the faces that my face makes." He said, "That just really shows you I'm getting into the music." And then he said, "Can you try to do it, Mom? I'm going to video you." And I can share those videos later if anybody wants to see them. But it was a hot mess. I don't really have I have some rhythm, but to get your right hand, your left hand, and a foot working at the same time, whew, it proved to be very, very difficult. But unless I would have gone there to that lady's house 15 minutes early, and unless I would have struck up that conversation, we wouldn't have a drum kit up there. And now he has like opened up to me and told me he wants to live in a rental house next year instead of in the dorms or instead of an apartment. He wants to have house parties. There's a band that he follows, and I don't. And they got their starting, with garage parties and house parties, and And I just tell y'all this story to tell you, I mean, do not think that I am overreacting. Okay, Jenny, I will. It's hilarious. I don't think I'm overreacting or overstretching here, but I believe that me being open to that conversation with my massage therapist husband a few mornings ago. Hey, Lynn. It just, I think it has started a path and a chain of events that will help my son kind of really blossom into the musician that he is. And none of that would have been possible if I was just still a full-time doctor, still thinking that my future life had to be the exact replica of my past life. And it just like keeps getting better. The more you show up for yourself, the more life shows up for you. And I truly believe that we're going to be hosting some concerts and and I feel sorry for whoever. My son's already found a rental house in Athens, and he's already found two roommates, and so it's just it's absolutely amazing that that what can happen in somebody's life when you just dare to dream. And again, to wrap it all up and tie it in a bow, none of that is able to be predicted by a couple of vials of blood and a measurement of height and weight. So, don't ever I guess what I'm trying to tell y'all this morning is don't ever let someone tell you that that their way of measuring a life means anything. You measure your life by the moments that take your breath away, and just like how expansive you can make your mindset. And then if you want more information about that, just please contact me. I can drop my email. I also can drop my website, which has a way to contact me in there. Because it would just make me so happy to have all the people that I could possibly get my hands on in this life living the best version of their life. The world really calls for people to tap into their genius and to be the highest amount of creative that they can be. No one gets anywhere by playing small. And if you think that you need to keep yourself small because you don't want to outshine your siblings or outshine your parents, or if you think that if you have too much that your life's going to fall apart, let me just tell you, nothing could be further from the truth. So that's really all I have to say today, guys. And it's been my pleasure coming in here and talking to you. And I will be here next Tuesday at 10. And if you're ready again to really live your life by a playbook made and created specifically for you, reach out to me and I'll show you how to do that. But you guys take care. I love you, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 10. Bye bye.